Hello, how you doing? Another Third Eye podcast, and we are on episode 4. Right? Good to see you guys. Good to hear from you guys. I am Nick, joined with Justin and Matt. 3 out of 3, Third Eye. Right? And today we're going to be talking about social constructs and what they are. So to go ahead and get into that, what a social construct is an idea that has been created and accepted by the people in the society. So if you don't really know what we're talking about, I'll give you an example. We got class distinctions, got education, gender roles, things of those natures, right? And so we want to go ahead and get into why we create social constructs. Like, what's the meaning behind it?
I feel like I guess it just gives people a quicker means of identifying what's before them. Just like how we love to generalize things or other people or behaviors. Like, I think we just like to do that so that we can all be on the same page and quicker. I guess it's more efficient, so to speak.
Yeah, it just gives everybody the idea or place to kind of separate themselves into specific categories, areas, classifications. It was something that was created to push the creation of society forward. And we've seen the positives and negatives of it, of the constructs that have been created. But definitely just to give distinction, like it says in the definition, distinctions to specific areas, specific people, specific thresholds of society, of the overall society that was being developed at that time and still is being developed and evolved over time.
I'd also like to add that social constructs can also be like systematic procedures that we adhere to. So an example of a construct would literally be like the class or a day schedule that you abide by as a student. You go to a few classes, you get a mental break, which is lunch. You also feed yourself, get calories, you go back to class. And like the whole overarching concept of the grade system or the education system is that it's supposed to take you through like a system of a spiral curriculum, and you progressively learn more, which is supposed to make you smarter, or that's the best system by which they've come up with this for us to do that, which isn't always a good thing. So I'd like to also point out that social constructs can be a bad thing, but it's just, there for a means of having something rather than nothing.
I mean, when I hear that, all I think of is a simulation for work.
Simulation for work?
Yeah, man. You go to a few classes, you do some work, 4 or 5 hours, you go to lunch, and depending on where you work at, if you work at Amazon, you get a 30-second break. If you go to UPS, you get a 2-minute break. FedEx, 5 minutes. If you work for me, or not for me, if you work at my job, you get no breaks. And then you go back to doing what you're doing, right? Typical 9 to 5. Work, lunch, work. Sounds like simulation for work to me. Could be, but as you were saying.
No, I was done. But I guess we could go into the next thing that we're going to talk about. Is just can social constructs change with time? And if they can, does that apply to all of them or specific constructs? So like the concept of money is a social construct. Like we gave it value, so it has value. But can something like that change over time?
Absolutely. Now, if we're looking at money specifically, then we all know basic economics. You put more out into not distribution, but in rotation, then it starts to lose value, right? And that's just a really, really quick way of looking at it over time. But I want to go back and basically kind of emphasize the second part of the definition of a social construct, because it's an agreement. It's a mutual agreement by pretty much a majority of people, or if not majority, the people with the power. Let's go with that, right? Because every time it might not be by all of the people. All right, it could just be by some people, right? And the agreement per se can be changed. It can be revised, can be edited at any given time. It's just depending on what it is. It's going to take a lot of time to just get some adapting to. So I want to go ahead and lay that out at front because it is an agreement. Okay, we over time we might not think that said thing is right or said thing is wrong, but it is an agreement at the end of the day. It is not natural. It's not like a natural law or anything. It's just an agreement at the end of the day. So I'd say it can be changed. It's going to take some time to get adapted to, and because sometimes that's what everybody knows, it might not be the best for a lot of people. But the more things change, the more things stay the same. So, yeah.
I'm actually gonna play not really devil's advocate, but I don't agree with it being established by the people who have the power, because technically the people that have the power are the majority in this situation. Like, the construct itself has to be adapted by the people who are not necessarily only the people with power, because the people with power are actually like significantly less in number than just people. So like it has to be accepted by the widespread in order for it to become a construct, because the widespread or the masses are who actually have to adopt that idea. That's how I feel. And I think it can apply to money, but can you see a social construct like time changing the further we develop into society? Like, can we do that? And I'm actually asking, I'm not being facetious either.
No, like I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. I'm gonna say that. Now, how it's gonna happen, I have no idea. But I mean, if the sun's out and it's technically 12 o'clock, we could just say it's 4. I mean, I'm all for it. Say it's 4 o'clock, man.
That's what daylight savings time is, essentially. And it's so funny because a bunch of I know here in Florida they've talked about it. I don't know. I haven't heard of any other states having discussion about it. I think I did hear about some states like already changing it or already have it like in docket to change, but getting rid of daylight savings time and the concept of fall back, spring ahead, or spring, I think it is fall back, spring ahead, and the whole daylight savings time construct. But to answer the question, I do believe that social constructs can evolve over time. I don't think they can necessarily change. I think time is time, like you said. Like 1 hour is always going to be 60 minutes. 60 seconds is always going to be 1 minute. That type of thing. Even when you talked about like we think of other social constructs as well, like religion, as well as money too. Those were things that were created and they've kind of stood the standard of time. Like there was one religion and now there are many religions, right? But the construct around them are still the same. The concepts around them are still the same. You might worship a different deity or thing, but the construct around it, I believe, is still the same. Like how it was created, the foundational value of it is still the same. So I do think it evolves, but I don't think that it necessarily changes, like, if that makes sense. Evolution has some type of change to it, but I think there's always still that, like how they say man was created, like how science says that man was created from apes. The ape is still an ape. They might evolve and they might change, but the primary things that make them an ape still make them an ape. Just like the primary things that still make religion. The primary things that still make money is still money. Those kinds of things. So that's how I kind of answer that question. But I do have another question for you guys, and it would be: is it bad for us to adhere to social constructs? Yeah, yay or nay? Why or why not? And what are some pros and cons of, having social constructs, the social constructs that we do currently?
Uh, no, it's not bad for us to adhere to these social constructs because um it's so okay. I'll start like this, right? Coming into the world, growing up, whatever, we have to have kind of a foundation, kind of like the conditioning for certain things, right? And how certain things are going to work and how certain things are going to be, right? I feel like it is up to us though to kind of be aware that okay, this is not always how it's going to be, or this is not how it has to be. When it comes to certain things, like you were saying with time,
Yeah.
you say 60 minutes is always going to be, an hour, 60 seconds is always going to be a minute. That is true. But like I said, it's one of those things like even now, right? So let's take the gender portion, right? So growing up, we know it's okay to have one of the primary colors as our favorite colors, like blue or red. That'd be our favorite colors, right? Don't go around saying pink, right? If you're a guy, don't say pink. Okay, pink's for girls, right? But it's not until we get older where it's like, yeah, I think I kind of like pink. I can say pink is my favorite color. Growing up, maybe not. Being a child, maybe not. But now that we're older, we can think for ourselves, or at least just maturing a little bit, thinking for ourselves. Now, some people, I know that can be difficult for some people, because they just need people to kind of think for them, or they're, looking for other people's opinion in order to formulate their own opinion, which is fine. But I know for at least us three, we're going to be able to actually have that awareness and actually think for ourselves and say, that may not always be the case, right? It may not always be the case. So it's not bad. Because like I said, it's going to be an agreement. Now, did we agree to some of the stuff coming up? Absolutely not. Other people did that. So like I said, it's just a foundational thing for us, foundational / conditioning thing. And then as we grow up, then we start to realize, okay, this can change, that can change, this will change. I'm going to change this, right? So me necessarily, I'm going to say that, oh yeah, pink's awesome. Pink's my favorite color, not red. And then it's not because I'm a guy, right? So I just think of it, just like I said, I want to emphasize the last part of the definition saying it is a mutual agreement, right? And just as fast as we can agree to something, we can change it as well. And if not, then it could be an individual change. I can say that pink's awesome. Right? I'm just gonna use that example for now. But that's just my way of answering the question.
You kind of gave me a thought for a follow-up question, and I kind of want you guys to kind of get into or visualize yourselves as the people that created some of these social constructs. Do you think that the people that created, like, let's say religion, or let's say money, or let's say time, or those things, do you think how it is used now in today's world, the way they might have looked at it then, if they were alive and here now, to look at it and be like, okay, this is what it is now, this is how it's changed, this is how it's evolved over time, do you think they would want to change it, some of their things? Is there anything that you think, just looking at it as if you were them, would there be some changes that needed to be made, just because they're seeing how it's being used now in today's time?
You want to say something, Matt?
Yeah. Okay. So, damn. Okay. So first, I want to make a comment about, the whole referencing to like the idea that specific colors or actions are associated with like male or female or whatever. Like, right. I used to think it was so dumb when I was a kid, before I even believed in such a thing. Like, I used to just walk around and be like, I just like the color purple. And to this day, purple is my favorite color. I just like the color. You're like, oh, you can't like that color. Like, that's a girl color. Like, what are you talking about? It's a color. Right. What? Like, before I even like could conceptualize the idea of a social construct, I used to just be like, You mean to tell me I can like this, and this? Bro, you guys are basic. And like, so like for me, I don't think social constructs are inherently bad, but I think that they can indeed be negative. So I'm going to be neutral to this. I think it's subjective, depending on the lens that you're looking at it from. And also, it just kind of, it's very situational as well. I think that the social construct of money is evolved from, and I don't even know if this is necessarily a construct, but like, you know, equal exchange. Like money is a concept that is evolved from the idea that was initially established known as currency. Currency is just a medium by which you exchange something of equal value with someone else. You know, like before we had seasoning in this country, they used to exchange with I'm bad at history, but I know that at some point, you know, spices and things like that were currency. So, you know, I hate history, don't mind me, but I know that that's true. So, but I guess now let me pivot back to what Justin was asking. Justin, can you ask that one more time for me, please?
Yeah. Essentially I was asking, put yourselves in the shoes as if you created one of these social constructs, looking at how it's changed over time, right? Or how it's evolved over time, how it's being used, both positively and negatively. Do you think you want to adjust something or change it into something else? Because I believe that all of us develop opinions on how the social construct was created or what it is, and we'll develop our own opinions as we grow. But I don't think any of us have taken the time to think, what was the original? I'm gonna take a Dr. Umar quote. You know, what was the original plot to the story? But what was the, like, literally that? What was the original plot? You know, to essentially, and is there something that you see, like, yeah, you know, because of how it was currency, how money was currency, but now money is used for so many things, both good and bad. Would they want to change it, change the rules around it, change how it's used, or would they say, we kind of saw this coming, like we knew it was going to turn into this, so we're here now?
I don't think that so there's two sides to this. I don't want to have the view that the people that initially established any of these forms of currency, forms of social constructs, were operating with the best intent in mind. I don't want to say that, because the whole concept of currency is like, all right, I have something, you have something, and I want that, and you want this. So how can I bargain my way into getting the better end of this deal, which is not, it's the best intent for you, but it's not objectively the best intent, you know? But I don't think that, well, I definitely don't think they'd be surprised, because if the idea, like if you look at the idea of currency and how it was used as a bargaining chip, you know, historically, then to think that it has evolved into what it is today, you know, like we keep the best resources in education by means of currency, you know, like students of a higher tax bracket, of a higher class distinction, which is also a social construct, have access to so much more things that a younger child or a student, you know, of a lower class distinction doesn't have, which is, you know, it's that in itself is a construct, right? So that's in the currency lens. Now, if you're thinking about time, I think that now something like time, I think it's absolutely it's operating as intended, because it's like, I think that in order to establish the construct that there is time, you have to first acknowledge that time itself does pass by. So like time as we know it is a construct, but like the universal concept of time, I don't believe is, because like to think that no time would be passing by if we didn't create time, that's just kind of foolish to me. I think what we understand as it is, and like our clock itself is a construct, because how could we have ever actually measured exactly when was when? Especially, I mean, in so many different ways, but yeah, I think as we know it, our calendar, maybe our clock or our system, may not be universally correct, but I still think it's operating as intended because it's a system by which we used to measure. It's a system by which we used to, schedule our days. It's a system by which we used to set up the education system, literally like the time that people are inside of school and all those different type of things. But yeah, that's going to be my answer.
I just had to wipe my nose. I didn't want to wipe it on camera, folks. For anybody that watches this video, come that time, that's all I was doing.
I mean, they're gonna say ill regardless. So it's
probably
because what are you doing down there, you weirdo? Okay.
Dog, I thought courtesy. I thought courtesy was just
canceled.
I thought, I was just trying
courtesy.
To
what is that?
I was trying to offer a courtesy to our viewers.
What is courtesy?
Them not having to look at me digging my nose.
Morality is a construct.
Morality is a construct, but we'll get into that. I agree.
Really?
We will eventually as we climb
next
down.
Year.
Maybe next year.
Right.
But I agree. I don't think it's necessarily bad because there have been some good things out of it. Like you said, man, I do agree. I agree with your entire time thesis that you presented to us, because I think universally they looked at it and saw that things live, things die. We grow older, we get older. They had to put something to it. Like it wasn't like we just watch, this fireball in the sky go up, come down, and see this white moon shining in the sky and couldn't call anything or just let it pass by. So the universal concept, I believe, I agree with too, because I mean, it happens, the world does move, the world does turn. The sun does go up and come down, or well, it doesn't go up and come down, but it goes up and comes down due to our point of view of how we see it from space, from our perspective to space, and things like that. So they had to put some type of construct in for us to know, how do we observe those kinds of things? How do we understand what is happening on the far reaches that we can't access, that we couldn't see at that time? So what's happening out in that sky, essentially. Now, what I will say is, and I just kind of thought about this in your answer, I don't know how we can tell how it's a day on Mars if we ain't never been there, or it's a day on Venus. Like I've seen that before, where they'd be like, oh, it's 24 hours because the day rotates on its axis. The Earth rotates on its axis in this amount of time, and when it makes a full rotation, that equals a year. I think I might be wrong. I'm not a scientist. Please don't, prosecute me. But they also have been able to determine what that is for other planets. And I'm like, how could you determine that if we've never been there? Now, maybe they looked at it. Did they have somebody literally watching with a telescope every day of their life from sun up to sundown to say, oh, it moved a complete, rotation? I'm back to the point where I saw it, where it started from, how like those things.
At the risk of sounding stupid, because I really just don't know. So if you're listening to this and you're clowning me, I don't care. When they send drones to these planets, maybe what is in the view of the drone changes, if the drone is looking at outer space. So how we measure the Earth by looking at the Earth rotate, or looking at the moon and the sun, I feel like some facsimile of that. Well, I mean, yeah, because every planet has moons, right? We just have one, but other planets. Yeah. So I feel like I'm so dumb. I should know. I hate science, so excuse me.
Yes.
But I feel like some concept that we use to calculate it for Earth has to transfer.
Yeah, because I just looked it up right now on my phone. A day of Earth time is 58 days on Mercury, but it's only 9 hours on Jupiter. Like, how were you able to construct that? Like, how were you able to determine that? That's where I go. I have a question on this.
Okay, well,
how do we do that?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that's hell, okay? Because a day on Earth, 58 days on Mars. I do not want to go to Mars.
About Mercury, not Mars.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that sounds like a real life hyperbolic time chamber, man. I'm trying to get
for real.
Hey, y'all trying to go train right now?
Hey, let's go.
Training hard?
You know.
What's up? No, but I ain't no scientist either. But yeah, we're just gonna put the drones there, right? And obviously it has some time or some factor with the distance from the sun and all the other stuff, and then you take it and compare it with Earth, and then there you go. Or the rotation in the whole solar system, not the whole solar system, but the with all the planets compared to the sun, and then there you go. Maybe the scientists will. Maybe the scientists can.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Maybe the scientists can come on here or comment and explain to us how we're dumb and we need to go back to school and figure it out.
You clown. You're
seriously,
dumb.
no, like seriously. My question is, how do they know their math isn't off?
You don't.
There's no way they can confirm it.
Okay, but who's going to tell them they're wrong?
This is what it is.
Who's going to tell them they're wrong?
Right, like who is like nobody has told these people that they're wrong.
Who's going to tell them they're wrong, bro?
That's my only question. That's seriously my only question. But back to the original question, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think there are just specific constructs that are bad, let's say, necessarily to adhere to, and then there are ones that have been very beneficial to our society and very beneficial to the development of society.
So basically, like, social constructs can be intuitive, but they can also be counterintuitive.
Yeah, in a way. We'll get into, the ones that are and aren't. But I believe that it's not bad to adhere to some of them, but there are some that have been created that have created a negative effect on our development as a society.
Such as?
Oh, you want to go there now? All right. So body count. Yeah. I'ma just kind of get into it. Needing to know how many sexual partners you have, besides for health reasons. And honestly, I don't think you need to know the number. You just need to know if they have something or not. So you can stop asking about the number of people. You can kind of ask, are you clean or not? I hate to say that like that though, but do you have a clean health, bill of health or not? Because at the end of the day, it don't matter if you slept with one person or if you slept with 1,000 people. If one of those people have something, you're gonna catch it too.
Right.
So I don't think the construct of looking at a particular person's body count and saying, oh, because this person has slept with X amount, or because this person has had sexual relations with X amount of people, determines their level of attractiveness or level of
worth.
Level of worth or level of being able to be promiscuous. Like it could be some people that are really good into getting into those situations, but only decide to have sexual relations with this amount of people. And it could be some people that you would assume probably are still a virgin, but they done, slept with half the campus or half the world. You never know that person's thing. So to me, body count is easily one social construct that has been created that I think has a negative effect, because now we keep asking that question, and we ask that question to assume that they are unclean or that they don't do the things necessary to have a safe, sexual experience. But there are people that have, large body counts that probably have had some of the cleanest, experiences, because they take into account their own health. And then there are obviously people that don't. But I think the idea of just needing to know somebody's body count, to assume what their health standing is, or how many people they interact with, or those things, level of worthiness or level of worth, essentially is just negative. I couldn't think of the other word. I know I said worthiness and something, or value to that person's eyes. I just think that's the one.
I'll take it a step further and even go with virginity. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably gonna get flamed for this. But what is there really to? Okay, this is gonna sound really, 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 really bad. as far as how it sounds. But honestly, what is there for you to lose or gain when you're not a virgin anymore? Like, if that makes any sense. Like, okay, this is not accounting for my body, my temple is sacred. Yes, all of those things. But when we look at them in the society, it's like, oh, you're still a virgin, or you're not a virgin, so you're not clean, or blah blah blah. So, like,
Right.
what is there actually to lose or gain? Like, first of all, it's nobody's business. Um, if we want to go there, but even still, a lot of people put some importance when it has nothing to do with them. I mean, I guess you can look at it from a religion standpoint. I'm not. Um, and like I said, I'm probably gonna get canceled for that. But I'm just being honest. Like it, it is what it is. Like your body, your temple. You're allowed to do it. Your body, okay. And I don't know. I don't understand why we just deem somebody who's a virgin like worthy rather than somebody who's not. It's like, oh, you're unclean now. Just like with as many bodies as you have. Look at the cup, man.
I
Shout out to Gordo's and Tallahassee for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. I mean, you can never really. That stuff is more important to some than others because some people follow like very specific religious beliefs, which
Right.
like that's fine. Like you can't really tell someone to stop doing that.
Right.
I think this is a little caveat here, and I would love to. I know we're looking to get some female guests on the show just so we can have a better or wider net of perspectives. But I'm gonna ask this question, I'm gonna answer it at the same time. But like the whole body count construct, is that more important to men or women? It's more important to men, to me. And I don't think it's for the right reasons either. I'm gonna say that too. I think that men just want to have something to like. It's weird because like men like to
like a trophy.
For them, for other men, they look at that as a trophy, right? But for women, they look at it as a means to like say that they're less worth something. Like regardless of what the number is, like you're still worth what you're worth. I don't, and I think that connects to like the whole primitive concept of men like just liking to conquer things. I'm really branching here, but like I really am. But I think that it's just so much more important to men than women because I think women are so much more accepting. Just like over like I don't want to generalize, but like more commonly, I'll say that men are like, yeah, like what if it's above this number? No, I haven't really heard that many women say that. And I'm friends with a lot more women than men because I feel like I can be so much smarter by putting myself around women than men because I just yeah.
I'm not even gonna cap, Matt. Like, man,
Lord.
I think I'm gonna say something that legit could very well get me canceled, but
you're already canceled.
I probably am, but. Yeah. I remember watching this video of this guy saying why men view, and it was this point right here, like why do men view body counts more than women? And it's because men have to get with a woman, with a woman. I keep saying a woman, but with women, men have to get with women to have sex. Women can go to a man and have sex. Like you have to get some type of acceptance and confirmation as a man to be able, well, not some type of, you do have to get confirmation. Like you do have to get consent and all of those things to have sex with anybody. But a lot of people, this particular guy viewed it as you have to, as a man, you have to work a little bit harder for it because you are looking to have sex with a woman. And as a woman, you're more easily able to give it out because men are the ones looking to have sex with you.
So in a simpler way,
Yes,
what
please. I was gonna say, please.
men go with what they can, women
Right.
go with what they want.
Want. Yes. That's essentially what he was saying.
Now, this isn't a
And
generalization, okay? And this is off of what somebody else said.
right. This is not my perspective and purview, but
We're already canceled. Do you
I
guys
just I
okay?
just don't understand. There's something there's a cog that's not connecting here. Like what is
What does that mean?
I get the notion, but what does that have to do with the way that men look at body count?
Meaning, okay, so look, you have to work for it a little
right.
harder, right? So it's not easy, okay? So if we're talking about us like men, because we have to work harder for it, it's an achievement, it's an accomplishment. Therefore,
Right. Within a
the
community.
right. Therefore, the more you have, the more it's now when you step back, when you really step back and take a look at it, it's like, dang, bro, you good. But
Yeah.
as a whole, like when we hear like right off the bat, we're just like, oh snap, like this guy's doing things
This
with
guy's
it.
that guy. Yeah.
This
Like,
is that
so
guy. Like, I'm that
it's
guy.
viewed like that. But it's because we put that level of value to it.
Which is a
Right.
And
construct.
because, right.
Yes.
And because you have that amount, you're viewed as, oh, all the women want you, I want to
Right.
be, and people start to look at that as a point of aspiration. And they go, I want to be that guy. I want, to aspire to what he has. Like he banging down, beautiful woman. Like they always seem to be talking to him. They always seem to be having that connection with him. I want that. And that is why it's held to that higher standard. It ain't no reason that people say they want to look like, these particular people, because women view, like, all the time, women view Michael B. Jordan and I hate to say it like this, as a sex symbol. That's somebody that they want to have sex with, So guys are going to be like, I want to be like him because it seems like women are really, really attracted to him.
Right.
So it's that level of value that people put towards the number and some body count that makes it like that. Now, me personally, for me to even get to that point with you, I have to have some level of connection. But in the society today, you don't have to have a level of connection with people. I mean,
It's more
Tinder,
like a transaction now.
yeah, like Tinder has turned into literally an app for you. If you need it to get some, you can, or you can find it through that, and not the means of actually creating connection with people anymore.
Oh
So
boy,
that's why
I
I
heard
think that as a social
Tinder.
construct is detrimental, because it takes away the value of connection and actually creating real connection with people. Now all you have to do is just put something, put 120, 180 characters into this little bio box, have a couple of pictures of you that look decently attractive, and you can go find somebody within, a couple hours. So that's why I say some social constructs are counterintuitive to the development and evolution of society, whilst others are not. And that's to get back to the original point.
I have a
The
question.
original plot of the story.
Yo.
Yes.
And I said this earlier, and I really just wanted to ask you guys: is it disrespectful? And I have had this conversation with like some of my women friends, but like, is it disrespectful for us to refer to women as female or females? Like like if we're saying, okay, I want a woman's perspective, I want a female perspective, is that disrespectful? Because I know there's some connotation with that word, especially how it's used in like our ethnic background. So like, what do you guys think about it? This is totally off, but I remember saying it earlier and I thought about it and I was like,
You're canceled. I actually did have we had me and Anthony actually had a conversation with a person at the time,
Justin just
and
went beep boop out.
he did. That's fine.
I gotta plug up my charger. Sorry, folks.
I see. Well, we still got audio, so we're good.
Yeah.
Now, like I was saying, Anthony and I were having a conversation about it because it was made mention in the room at one point. And if I remember correctly, it's like it's another form of the B word, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so if we're not saying this blank, we're going to say this female, right? Or instead of saying this woman, this lady, this young lady, this girl, or her name, right? We're going to
Yeah.
avoid all of those and say this female, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, that's categorized into or generalized into a whole another negative construction, if I may say. Because when you say this blank, right, now you see her as something below of what she already is, because what's following behind that is something very disrespectful, very rude, very condescending, anything to just bring her lower than what she actually is, right? So we've kind of evolved from this blank to this female, right?
Mhm.
That's basically the type of thing that she was saying to me or saying to us. And I didn't really get it at first, but now as I tend to hear it a lot more and more, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but now in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not really calling you this. So what's the
Right.
problem? Right.
No, but it's more so like
Under
intent is important, but like, how someone perceives it is also equally, if not more. So our woman listeners, I beckon you to please share your perspective. They listen to the context of which I used it and let me know if you would derive that from what I was saying, because I don't want to. I really just want to know, because when I think about saying it, I'm like, I don't want anyone to perceive me saying it this way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, okay, we can.
And honestly, I just want to throw this point out here. I also had a conversation with a really good friend of mine as well, on changing the vocabulary and changing your lexicon to saying woman, more so than that. And then I thought about, even then, like when you said that, Nick, of like how your friend compared it to the B word. I mean, if you look at the definition of the B word, it literally says a female dog. So it's like even outlined in the definition itself. But if anything, it is the value, I believe, that the word presents. And a lot of people attempt to make it more of a political correctness thing than a connotative or what the word itself means. It's just finding better adjectives to describe women in that context. Because and honestly, personally, after I had a conversation with my really good friend as well, I looked at it completely different as well too, and started to say women, more than that. I used to say female a lot.
Yeah.
It has changed to woman or women more.
I guess maybe for me, like the reason why I was saying it more is because like I'm not gonna, like, I have a lot of women friends, but when I say women friends, it makes me feel weird. And like, I'm not gonna say I have like several girlfriends, because like, nah, like, see, like just me saying that I have several, like a lot of friends that are women already makes people look at me.
And guess what?
Like,
value goes up. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, light skin. Yes,
social
sir.
construct. Yes, sir. You're a light skin.
Yes,
light skinned young Black man in a master's program. Oh, you educated. Oh, yeah. And you got a lot of women. Hey, man. Guess what? You just earned about 50 plus points on the social meter, man.
I heard you play the saxophone. Can you play
snap.
Real quick
Hey,
for
he
me?
a Kenny G. This man, a Jamaican Kenny G. Oh, my goodness. Hey, this man that got 1,000 points added to his social meter.
Maybe I'm a step closer to becoming a sauce guy. What do you guys think?
Step closer.
I couldn't tell you,
bro. You're already.
No, you guys are the leader.
No, you're the creator of.
I'm not really sure about that one, but for like I said before, we said this off camera. It's definitely Justin and then Matt, which is in a close second, and then I'm down here in a close third. So, you have to talk to Justin about that.
Interesting perspective.
No. Really is this. I think all of this has been interesting, and just the idea of social contracts, because even now, like when we picked this as a topic, I didn't think we'll get this in depth into it and like looking at specifics and specific, things. And now even even sitting here talking to y'all about it now, it's helping me realize other social constructs that are social constructs that I didn't think were social constructs because I was conditioned to already assume that was just a part of life.
Right.
So I'm happy we decided on this topic because, man, like I didn't think we would delve this deep, and I didn't think, besides the ones we've already talked about, I didn't think we would determine more of those. So, it's just I love that we started this because the level of growth and the amount of ability and intelligence that we learn off of each other has been like absolutely
and our friends.
genuine.
Yeah,
and our friends, yes, and the ideas and comments that we've gotten from others.
Yeah. I think I think it's great that you mentioned that we're going more in depth and we're kind of letting ourselves veer off, because I guess the idea that we had in our own heads when we initially sent the first draft of episode 0 to our friends was like, if we keep branching off, they're going to be like, stop branching off, stick to the main thing. So we were really trying to work hard and be specific. And then when we sent out episode 0, everybody's like, it's too short. You guys aren't going in depth. Like we want to hear you guys talk, So I think it's good we're letting ourselves veer off. And if you don't know, like for the listeners, like what we do, like we kind of have an outline of how we want to the topic to shift and specific subsections and questions and things like that. But like what we just talked about, we don't have it all. And that's the idea, of what we're looking to achieve. Like we have an outline, but it's not necessarily meant to be always strictly adhered to.
We have a skeleton to keep us back on track after we veer off.
Yeah.
Basically.
So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get back to the skeletons and the bones of it.
Yeah. So following that was how early are we molded to adhere to the social construct? And so the example listed beforehand. No, well, first of all, let me answer the question first. I definitely want to say.
Nice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I want to say that it is. Just want to say as early as possible, because like I said, it's the conditioning thing, the foundational thing. So we're learning at a very, very young age. So, we can even say as early as the womb, coming out the womb. Now, honestly, I don't remember what our parents are saying to us because we're all children and babies and toddlers and stuff like that. But, what they know, they teach us. So we go from there. So whatever they abide by, we're going to abide by it too, because like I said, they've been learning it for a while and they want to teach their children, which goes into the example. And we're going to come back to it, the initial question. But I really do love the fact that you said the code of conduct book in the elementary school.
It was the best thing I could think of, bro.
I love it.
Morality is a construct. They literally made a sign, be like, these are the morals that you will live by in this elementary school, in this public school system.
That we're also going to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag in the morning. But we're not gonna.
I used to be like, bruh, oh my God.
Like, bruh, I ain't even had breakfast.
So I got a kind of wild answer here to this question, because I just kind of thought of something new just sitting here. But what if I told you that we're molded to adhere to a social construct before we're even out of the womb?
Are you talking about when we're still in the stomach and people playing music?
No, that's a good one too, though.
Is it?
I'm interested.
I kind of just said something.
But the day that your parents found out your gender, they started putting your room together.
Right.
That is the day that you have started to be molded into what you are supposed to do as soon as you come out. Yeah. It's something that I thought of immediately, and that's why gender reveals are so hot nowadays. But like,
you're the IQ god.
Hey, nah. But literally is that. So the day that they find out your gender, they start putting your room together. And when we watched, I can't think of a movie off the top of my head, But there are movies where, you know, the parents will start putting the room together and they will paint it, like you said, Nick, earlier, blue if it was a boy or pink if it was a girl. They'll put the crib, they'll get the toys and everything. And as soon as you come out and you're put in that room and you're playing with those toys and you're, you know, you see it on the walls, your brain is already starting to develop itself. Your brain is already in the process of developing, like, these are the toys that I like playing with, until something new is introduced to you, which comes in you having interactions with other people, kids, things like that. But it easily starts, I think, that early. When you come out of the womb and you're already like, you're in the presence of your parents and you make it home and all those things. The second that you start interacting with other, like, you as a child start interacting with other families, other, you know, babies, things like that, that's when you start to kind of develop your own thoughts and become self-conscious. Like, oh, because I hear about it all the time. With people when they discover that they're either another gender, like when they say, oh, I never felt like I was a boy, like I always felt like I like these things. When those things were introduced to them, that's when their perception started to change. It's not that they came out and they're like, you know, as a baby, when you came out screaming, it's like, nah, put me back in. I was supposed to be something else. Or I was supposed to be, you know, please don't cancel me. I know that sounded kind of wild.
You already canceled.
Please don't cancel me. But it's the idea of when something new is introduced to you, which one do you like better, or what do you look at as this fits you more than the other? But I think it's introduced before you even come out the womb.
Real quick, Matt.
Yeah.
Side note, we're all in band. Y'all boys playing flute?
Yeah. The first thing I did when I started student teaching was pick up a flute. When I was in high school and I tried to play my girlfriend's flute, the girl that I was dating back then, bro, I got flamed so hard. What are you doing, Matt? Like, it's almost like I picked up an upside down Bible or something, bro. I was like, bro, I'm just trying to play the instrument, bro.
Yeah,
like,
you got to cross upside down.
The
Antichrist.
When we had freshman ensemble, I picked up a clarinet. It was honestly the best thing ever. It was so much more fun than saxophone. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. I played clarinet in high school. That was fun.
Shalimar registers were the gods, you know, where the gods.
I tried picking up oboe in high school.
Good luck.
Because Jesus, it was a time. But socially, right? It's so funny you say that, Nick. Socially, I was not picking up a clarinet or a flute. Like you just already knew it. And I'm not gonna lie, social value, because drumline had just kind of, you know, had its success and all those things. If you were a guy and you played percussion, you was Devin Miles, you was Nick Carey, you was like, and you was gonna have a Zoe Saldana, you was gonna be the finest thing on the streets. I promise you. In some schools, it was really like that. Like if you picked up snare or you wanted to play percussion, you was gonna get the girls. Because guess what? Now you look like the star off a drumline.
Exactly.
Now you can play like him. Like, and that's cool. And that's what is determined cool. But it's so funny. Now you kind of made me think about like how I picked what I picked. And I'm not gonna lie, I picked my instrument because the least amount of people were playing it. I did not like operating with the crowd. I was going to do percussion, and then when we went and our band director said, go, you know, in the area of what you would want to play, because he would set up the band room in that manner. So all the percussion was in the back, and then he had basically how a band is set up. He had the sections of where those instruments were. And I remember it was like 10 to 15 people of my classmates percussion. I'm good off that. I'm not about to be, because I'm gonna get lost in that. Like sauce. if I'm not the best, and that was probably my mindset at it. That actually was my mindset at the time. If I wasn't the best at it, I was gonna get lost in the midst of all these other people. So then I was thinking about like trumpet, trombone. It was a good amount of people there, but like saxophone had like 2 or 3 people, and I was like, bang, that's where I'm going. So that's how I picked saxophone.
I told my band director, I was like, I want the instrument that slides. He did a whole demonstration playing Flight of the Bumblebee in one position on trombone and all this, and you know, like, and then like he was like saxophone. I was like, yeah. What a scam, bro! What a scam! But I was thinking about something that you said, Justin, and when we were talking about the whole social constructs and how early they appear, I was thinking like the idea that when we are kids and we're interacting with kids of other races, we're not thinking that they're different at all. But then
Right.
when you took it to another level of like the parents enforcing their own construct on what the child should like when they come out of the womb, you know, like the color blue, the color pink, it made me think about you know, like in combating that construct itself, that kids have to, like little young boys have to play with GI Joe, and little girls have to play with Barbie. In trying to combat that construct itself, I think we've created another construct with people trying to make their little boys play with Barbies. And I don't think that's how that's supposed to work at all. Like I've seen the viral Facebook videos that people will post about, oh, this father is like giving his son Barbies because he doesn't want his kid to grow up thinking that boys can only do this. Well, you are conditioning, and this is how I look at it, like you're conditioning that child because that child didn't choose that. You're giving it to them. You know, it'd be different if you put both in front of them and you let them choose at that point and they choose what they want to choose. But you're just creating another construct, you know, by giving that to them. And I just realized how so maybe constructs can be counterintuitive.
Come on. But it's I'm happy you realize that. I'm sorry. I'm happy you realize that, because when the way that the construct is reinforced, if it's reinforced negatively, then the fruits of that construct that are grown are also going to inherently be negative. So because that construct was created where boys should only like GI Joe dolls, GI Joe action figures, even though they all are created in the same way. They had action figures and they had dolls. And it's funny how you watch plenty of TV shows and they were like, all you want to do is play with your dolls, and the boy was like, action figures.
Exactly.
Like, it's because you have to make the delineation to show I am a boy. Like, they are not dolls. Dolls are Barbies and Bratz dolls and those things. I play with action figures. Don't you ever confuse, try and say that they're the same. But it's because of that reason that you have to defend it so inherently. And I'm happy you brought up, this is my last point, but I'm so happy, Matt, that you had brought up like us as kids that we don't see race. You're right. We do not see race, but we definitely saw gender as kids. And that will forever, like gender, that's why I think gender has always been like the social construct that we're exposed to the earliest. Because yes, as kids, we never saw race. Like we never saw like, oh, that's Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, white boy, as
Cancelled.
most communities would say. I know.
Cancelled.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm gonna just say it.
Cancel.
Like that's a white boy, that's a Hispanic boy, or a Hispanic girl, that's an Asian kid. We just saw it as, oh, that's Susie, that's Chad, that's this person. But we did know Chad is boy, Susie is girl. And that's why the earliest construct I believe that we've been introduced to is gender.
I feel like that depends though, because I feel like the gender construct is something that we're taught.
Okay.
I don't think that's something that we naturally pick up on, because at some point, when you're like, say, I don't know, like your parents don't let you go to the bathroom at the same time as like, I don't know, your cousin, like when you guys are both really young, like you're as a child, you're not thinking, oh, we can't go to the bathroom at the same time because, I'm a boy and she's a girl. Like,
right.
At least like your parents tell you that you can't do that. And then you're like, well, why? I don't see what's wrong with it. And then they, I feel like it's informed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's true. Cause the biggest thing I will say is seeing like pictures of you taking baths with your cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I've seen that a lot in, again, TV shows and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure it's true. They would throw all y'all in the tub at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you then didn't know, oh, I'm boy, she's girl. We're all, we shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. Your parents just put all the babies in the tub at the same time. Like if they stay the night or things like that. As you grow, yes, then that delineation is created, that divergence is created to say, oh, girls and boys can't do these things together because anatomically there are differences.
Right.
So that's how that is created. But or that's, I believe, how it the divergence is created eventually, as you grow. But I just think personally that gender, I don't know why I said that twice, but gender is the first that
Yeah.
you're introduced to. Nick,
Yo.
what is your viewpoint?
I'm
'Cause I
in,
know
man.
you had
What's
something to
up?
say. Yeah.
Well, first of all, when I had my hand up earlier, I just wanted to make mention that it's honestly pretty funny how you're saying this because your background is saying this is fine.
This is
Um
fine.
Not only that, but I am Charles and Matt is Doug Dimmadome now.
Oh, the next day,
Right. Hey, bro. Longest
And
hat in America.
man,
The
and
tallest hat.
and honestly how I see it, and I don't even know what it is at this point. Um I You'd have to go back over the question. Yeah, I was listening, but we veered off so much that I was
Oh,
like,
how early are we molded to adhere to social constructs?
Yeah.
oh,
I think we're still on this question. It's just
Yeah.
oh.
we've gone down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of answered first, but
You
You did.
I mean, if you want me to go into more detail, I really ain't got much for you. But
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you had something to say on the viewpoint of everything that we were talking on just then.
no, you guys are geniuses, man. I answered
Stop
first,
it.
and the more I hear you guys talk, I'm like, dang, I didn't even think about that. It's crazy.
Dog.
And it's like,
It's when you're talking about, the code of conduct, like, well, the example of the code of conduct, like, it's like that in itself, like, like morality, like a set of rules, set of principles that we're supposed to follow. I mean, it's just a social construct. So I mean, the next thing that we were going to talk about, right, was going to be like, is morality a social construct? Like, and if anyone, okay, so to be specific on what morality is, like the principles that you concern yourself with to discern whether things are right or wrong, or good and bad behavior type thing. But essentially, it's just a system of values that we all try to adhere to for the greater good or the common good or whatever that is.
you said the band motto, quality to live by.
Highest quality.
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to comment.
Highest quality character.
I'm not going to comment.
So
Hey, how 100?
Yeah,
hey, shout out. So
performing right now, actually, if you couldn't tell.
Hey, come on.
That's right.
Come on. You in a goop.
Yeah, in goop right now.
Hey, come on. But to answer the question, I do. Well, yes. Plainly, yes. Morality is a social construct because what is good and what is bad.
Also
right?
Subjective, yeah.
Yeah, those are also subjective in your own way. It was funny because when we threw this question out when we were developing this episode, I originally was going like my initial answer was no, morality is not a social construct, but the spectrum on morality is. What you may think as really, really bad is not what somebody else thinks is really, really bad.
Right.
What you may think of as really, really good is not somebody's really, really good. So the spectrum of it is wide ranging, almost, not even almost, but unlimited, essentially. But then I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, well, what's truly good and what's truly bad, we can't make a determination or delineation like looking back on it. We can't make that determination and say that certain things are good and certain things are bad, because to that person's viewpoint at that time, or to the society's viewpoint at that time, it was good, right? I hate to say this like this, right? Slavery, to those people at that time who owned the slavery business, thought it was good because it developed what became, known as America and the society and capitalism. Like slavery was America's first idea of capitalism, and well, it wasn't its first. Let me not say that, because there was still, like you said, there was still a level of currency, right? But in the development of this country, that was the first inclination of labor, right? Or being able to work for free and those kinds of things.
Yeah. How much work can I get done without doing any of it myself?
Right.
Them
And
boys said.
that was the creation of capitalism. Like how can I make money and make money for me only?
Them boys said, who else gonna do it?
Right.
Right.
That's exactly what it was.
Can't be
and to them at that point in time, they thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, they didn't this is the most efficient way to do this.
Right. They didn't see nothing wrong with owning a person. They didn't see nothing wrong but that's obviously for reasons that are in everything that you can Google possible on it. But though that's what that system thought was correct at the time, they thought that was good. And I remember I had this conversation with a couple of friends in the past, but I was like, that's what they thought. Like they didn't think it was inherently bad. They just did what they were socially conditioned to be taught. What happens when that one person decides to stand up and say, this isn't good, or we shouldn't have done this.
Well, they gotta die, man.
Oh yeah, but that's where you have conflict, and that's how conflict also develops society as well too. And you know, those that's where things were created. And that's how America continued to develop.
Continues still, because I feel like at that point, like while they didn't believe that slavery, and I don't want to make this a whole discussion about slavery, we can turn this into a whole, but like they believed those things to be beneath them. And even now, like it's not all of the majority population that believes that, you know, those type of things are beneath them or certain things are beneath them, but there's still a population of people who are, you know, like supremacists who believe in that, oh, like this is beneath me, you know, I can't do this. This is this ethnic background task, you know, like, so, yeah. I mean, they didn't think it was wrong, but like they were definitely morally, whatever that means, misconstrued.
Yeah. And let me clear up that statement of slavery wasn't technically America's first taste of capitalism, those things, but it definitely created what made America, or what gave America the start to become this power in the world.
Right, because America's not even original.
It's not at all. It is, and I say it all the time. America is a melting pot. America started as a melting pot. Like, we can't delineate to a specific this and say this was what it was. It's a melting pot of cultures that have now enveloped and become America. Like eventually,
America villainized the British so hard because America was you know, Britain has colonized America,
right?
Or you know what it was at the time, and they're like, oh, these people are such villains.
Yes,
let's go do it ourselves.
Essentially,
and then you look at like things like how our culture, like our art, our perception on art and our perception on music education, and how that developed quite literally from Britain and started like Charleston, you know, like you look at the very roots. Shout out to public schools. Shout out Dr. Thomas. He's not going to listen to this, but I learned. I was paying attention. You know it. I was paying attention. But it's like, you know, it's just a copy. Like they just Wikipedia copy and paste it, and they're like, let's just change the title. Nobody's going to read it.
Right. That's it. Nick, what do you think? Is morality a social construct?
Yes. But you know, it's kind of, well, I'm just gonna talk because you're saying that the idea behind it makes it a social construct, which I do agree with. But I guess I'm just conditioned too bad, man. Because I just feel like if you lie to me all the time, you're a bad person. Stop lying to me, man. Stop. Like, the I teach you is bad, bro. I mean, it's definitely a social construct. I don't really have much to say about it. I just don't think that. Well, okay, I'll say it's one of those things that we kind of need as a society to keep us in check. Now, whatever you deem from best to worst. I mean, that's cool. I don't know. Well, let me say this. When I think of morality, it goes back to the first thing that comes to mind is religion, right? And going down a slippery slope, but it is what it is. Because some people live by certain things in the Bible, whether it be the commandments, whether it be what your pastor teaches you, whether it be what your parents teach you, right? And I personally believe that you should treat people how you want to be treated. And I think that's the essence of being a quote unquote good person, right? And I think that it's one of those things where, yes, perspective is reality, or my bad, perception is reality. So if I don't see it that bad, it's not that bad, right? I lie to people all the time. What makes you think I'm not gonna lie to you? Like, what? Right? But it's one of those, I have mixed feelings about it because, Kendrick say morality, spirituality, good and bad health, right? One of the things is it's gonna keep us in check as a people, and that's, like I said, it's one of those things where it's really on the agreement side, where we agree to this, we're gonna live by it. That's, like I said, that's just what comes to mind immediately. It's what's gonna keep us in check. I think some people burn by it, trying to do good by people all the time that don't have the same intention. But that's what makes people different. That's what makes people you. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got about that. To answer the question, yes, a social construct, but kind of needed, man.
Yeah, I think as long as we have so we have organized religion, but we have several. So theoretically speaking, we can have several different sets of morals,
right?
Because if ultimately the religious people, which I don't know if that's even the majority in America, because I really just don't. But people who follow some religion, if that's what guides your morals, that will always be subjective. Yeah. And I don't think that's wrong either. I really don't. I think what would be wrong is if we try to universalize, I don't think that's a word, but if we try to universalize everything and say, these are the morals 1 through 50, kind of like how certain jobs or fields have code of ethics, but you can't do that for real life. Right. But we definitely do need foundational things that say, okay, if you do this, this is not good. But I think it's fine. As long as we have opinions, we will have subjective morals. That's how I feel.
Dystopian utopia. This is what we're going to abide by. And you're not going to go against it. It's not
right. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Man. This kind of reminds me of I'm trying to think of the book. Man,
are we talking about the same thing? Was it a movie?
It was. Yes, it was, but it wasn't.
It ended up being a movie.
It wasn't like a movie. It wasn't overly popular. But Fahrenheit 451. That's the name of it.
Never mind.
Ray Bradbury.
Never mind.
And it's about essentially that the future became that this dystopian world that books were banned. Everything, all the information that you were given was given to you via the system. So the schools you went to, everybody learned the same thing. You developed the same opinions on everything, essentially, and you could not read a book. If they found a book, books were burned. And that's why the book is called Fahrenheit 451, because now they had all of these crews that essentially would go out and find factions of people that were hoarding books of the past, and burning and keeping them to help people develop opinions and change. And it's from the perspective, the main character is somebody that works for one of the crews. And he actually they go out, find this faction of people that held onto books, but he actually took one of them and he starts to read it and he becomes changed or enlightened, shall we say. because of it, and he realizes the things that he's doing are wrong. But it's an incredible book on that, and it actually kind of talks in the system of social construct, and what can happen essentially if you don't give people the ability to create their own, if you kind of created the system for them, or not allowing them to develop their own originality or personality to it. So this conversation has really opened my eyes up a lot to it. And Nick, aka Charles, said, we ain't gonna get canceled. I think we've talked about a lot of things today that could potentially get us canceled, but
we're already canceled. What are you talking
it's
about?
all, oh my goodness, it's all in learning and growing together, and pushing things forward, pushing the narrative, not even a narrative, but pushing positive, open, honest communication between like and unlike, or like and not like-minded people. Which is why, again, this is the best thing
right
that I could have decided to do.
There are a lot of movies, scenarios, books, readings, findings of similar said story, which is why I asked you. And so once you figure it out, no, I have not read it, or no, no, I've not read it, but it's similar across the board. And the problem with that, and this is me veering off again, but the problem with that is the links that they have to go through in which to keep said things secret. Like that's what keeps people like on their toes all the time. Like, I mean, if you want to teach something, like it is what it is, yeah, sure. Kind of like how religion was for us. Well, I'm gonna say us. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say us. Just just based on the fact that a lot of people that I had talked to about it, whether they were coming up, in the Christian community, I'll say that. I don't want to speak for anybody else's religion, right? But the people that I have around my circle, where they teach certain things, and then we start to question and be like, "Why?" And then they'd be like, "You being disrespectful."
Yeah, it's weird. My bad, I made to cut you off, but
you're good.
My cousin is atheist, and his mom is super religious, and he was raised in the church.
Yeah,
and he's just atheist because he just asked too many whys, and like it didn't make sense to him, and it just stopped clicking. And I won't say that I was particularly raised to have a religious upbringing. Like my family is religious, like we do believe in God, but I never like was too concerned with like the what is it, how the way that we identify the different religions, like what is that term?
Oh, the Holy Trinity or something?
No. Like how we define. So like, oh, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic.
The denominations.
The denomination, yes. Yeah. I was never too concerned with the denomination, or so much as like going to church or worshiping the same ways as other people, because like after a while, it was just like, why are you doing this way? Like, and I have some very off views about it, and I probably will share at a later time, but like it's just like, I guess to summarize it, and I don't want to be, no, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just gonna save myself the trouble, because every time I say it, people are just like, what? But like just me wanting to worship and praise in my own way, people are like, well, you can just go to church, and I'm like, but I don't want to. But does that make me any more of a believer than you? No, it doesn't, but yeah.
If that's what you were talking about, I don't think that's, like I said, I think that a lot of people in our age group are starting to understand what it really means to be religious, because, well, let me say this. My sister and I were going to church for a long time growing up, and we just stopped going, right? And it doesn't make us any more or less religious than any other person, but being outside of the church for so long, now I can't speak for my sister, she has to speak for herself, but speaking for me personally, I was actually able to figure out what I want to do, how I view certain things, and how I want to give praise. Let's say that, right? Or how I want to my relationship with God. Let's just go with that. I'm going to be as simple as possible, right? I mean, it is what it is. It's like, I, I mean, like I said, we were growing up so long, and there's a lot of things that you question, a lot of things that didn't make sense, and you just stop going, and then you just kind of figure out your own way. Doesn't make me any less Christian or less religious than anybody else, and you just go on from there. You figure out your own relationship, and that's not something a lot of people can understand when they're so close-minded about
You're spitting.
how to do something when it's really any type of way. Like, we can't put a box on how we're able to represent how happy we are spiritually, or how we're going to give praise or thanks, or have your relationship with said deity, because I don't want to just put it on Christianity. I want to put that for everybody. But like I said, it is what it is.
Yeah, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I don't want to veer off too much, but my issue with that is like speaking to someone who maybe worships in a traditional way or whatever the case is, and how they may look at me when I talk about my relationship with God, and like, it's just so weird. It just gives me holier than thou, and I don't really like that, because when God put me on this earth, he knew what I was and who I was going to be. He created me. I have a part of him in me, like, so it's like, to an extent, he knew that I was going to be, and I feel, this is so random, but I feel like someone who may not be a believer at all is listening to me say this and being like, oh, you're such a clown. And you're welcome to believe that. I'm entitled to my beliefs just as much as you are. But like, I was put here and he designed me. So what gives you the idea to say that, like, I've had people try to gatekeep me out of certain conversations and out of having perspectives on certain things by them saying, oh, you're just not religious, you wouldn't get it. What do you mean by that? Man, it makes me so mad. I don't even want to talk about it. I hate when people do that. It makes me so sick, bro, because it's like, but what does that mean? Tell me.
Well, it's just one of those, like you said, holier than thou things. First order of business. I think a lot of traditional people just have to stop being so close-minded. And if you want to be close-minded, that's fine. Just mind your business. I think that just goes a long way. If you want to say that this is the way, perfect, sure. But do not say like this is wrong, or you're more religious than me, because what does that mean, right? Does that mean you're going up first? Like, let's be honest, right? Like, even the way that people talk down upon atheists, right? You hear somebody's an atheist, and all of a sudden you think they're a devil worshiper. Like, bro,
yeah,
like, no, like, it's just like, I wanted to say that I don't want to say they take it too serious, because taking your religion and your spiritual health serious is a serious thing. But when it comes to other people, how they reach level 10, it's not for you to judge. Just like you reach level 10 traditionally, or how somebody told you to do it, and that's the only thing it's not right for you to just say, oh, somebody found another way. Okay, that's not the way I know. So
yeah. I think that idea that is just, that behavior is very invasive. It's very toxic. It has too much projection in it for me. It's not open-minded. Yeah.
I don't want to belabor the point too much, but one thing I thought about was when you talked about the perspective of gatekeeping and the holier than thou concept, is when the church was created, and I think about this too, when the church was created and then eventually eventually not communicated. I don't even know how to say it. Basically, when the church was created, and then people came over to America or to conquer other areas, one of the very first ways they would get people that were of the land that they were conquering or of the land that they were overtaking to assimilate was through religion. And when you think of that was the process of you becoming essentially a Christian, that's how that traditional mindset was created and then passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that's what made people so religious, I believe. It's so funny because even becoming agnostic is even looked down upon badly as well too. And that's just you not practicing anymore. That doesn't mean you gave up your faith. That doesn't mean you just say, I don't believe in God, or you become an atheist. You just stop. You're not religious anymore. You just need time to decipher what spirituality essentially is for you. And I think that within our generation and within actually not our generation, but within the time, people are starting to realize the construct of the church. Again, I'm not talking about the construct of the religion. I'm not talking about the construct of spirituality. I'm talking about the construct of the church itself. And they're realizing the negative attributes that it has. Now, I have, friends on both sides. I have friends that are very religious and attend church every Sunday and love doing it. And that is from their perspective for their life and built into their value, their list of values of their understanding of what their value system is. And then there are others that are agnostic or atheist or may just not have the same denomination or believe in the same things that you do. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to think about, not to believe, but it's crazy to think about. But I've never been someone to be shocked or have an opinion on someone having, a different religion than me or than others. I've had it spewed upon me, and I will just publicly say this. I was raised, and I am still a practicing Catholic. So my experience with religion, as a kid, I hated talking about it because the only thing people associated to Catholicism was the entire sex scandal and rape scandal that happened within the Catholic Church here in America as well as overseas. So very first questions were, are you an altar boy? Did you get and that's just because of the ignorance of some people. Yeah. Those are those questions that were asked. So I just never liked talking about it because the only thing that people could associate to Catholicism was that situation happening. So as a kid growing up, I just never liked talking about it. And I have stories, so many stories I can share. If we ever do talk about church as a subject, I'll get into them. But man, just personally, it's the social construct of the church, I think, at the end of the day, not really the social construct of religion itself.
Yeah. I think the overlying theme for all of us here is that regardless of if it applies to a religion or not, don't be that person who tries to project or stamp their view and standpoint onto anyone else, whether it appeals to how you feel about religion, politics, sexuality, any of that. Don't be that person because just don't. We're all people, and if we were all meant to be one way, we'd be really boring. Come on. And it's not right for you to try to do that to people. I don't know.
Now, if we're talking in that standpoint, I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to stand by my word. If you put mayonnaise and mustard on your sandwich, you need help.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about this last episode. No, 2 episodes ago. Okay. Right. And Chipotle is the way to go.
Or it's at Chipotle Gourmet. That's the only way.
Hey,
sponsor us.
I'm not going to
sponsor us.
I put it on a sandwich the other day because I just wanted some cake.
I'm trying to tell you.
I could have made.
Bro, best carbs you'll ever digest, bro.
Facts. I don't even have Publix in Mississippi, but you better believe I have at least a few bottles of that Boar's Head in my pantry.
Come
That's
on.
right. Okay, but after you
Come
open
on.
it, you better put it in the refrigerator.
Very much.
I'm not putting, well, okay, I'll put the Boar's Head in the refrigerator, but I had an argument with somebody recently who was like, you're supposed to put ketchup in the refrigerator after you open it.
Nah, I don't.
I'm leaving it on the
cold
table.
Ketchup.
Is that
Cold
cold ketchup?
is such a sin to me.
Because then you have to microwave the ketchup, bro.
Okay, but who's
Facts.
going out of their way to do that?
Exactly. So
Somebody
but
that
who likes
warm
cold ketchup?
Well, obviously
That's
you.
true.
Well,
Can be me.
maybe we've been conditioned.
Ooh.
So, how good are we at recognizing that we're being conditioned by things like social contracts? Are we good at it?
Yeesh.
Are
I don't
we
think
good
so.
Are we good at it? No.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't think so.
maybe.
No. The masses are so easy to influence. Kanye said it in an interview, and I'm going to bite him again. And he was like, if I hit you with a WYD, you better hit me with a hi with a bunch of eyes or hey with a bunch of Ys. And he said that after he dropped that song, nobody texts him without doing that.
Yep.
That's a Kanye construct, but it's not as mass, but like whatever we're influenced by in pop culture tends to become a mass belief, and just like that. It's like they put stuff in the water, and now we're all like, hi with a bunch of
right. Listen to Kanye if you can.
Facts. That Donda album is come on, album of the year, man. Run it up.
Hey, the Grammys did have their I think they're called for nominations. They actually just they just released their nomination list for the upcoming Grammys. So
yeah,
I believe both. Yeah, Donda. I believe Donda was on there.
So we all agree that. Well, I'm asking when I say this. We all agree that we're not, as a collective, as a population, very good at recognizing social constructs.
Nah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'm asking, when I ask this next question, I'm asking you guys, but I'm going to give some examples. What are some common social constructs that we, or, in the sense you, collectively, or in that sense you, feel pressured by? So like some examples, the timeline to have kids, whether or not you should go to college, what are you pursuing in your studies? Like, are you pursuing a job that makes money, or are you pursuing a job that you're charged by? As if those are always two different things. That itself, that perception in itself, in my opinion, is a construct. And attributing our outlooks on certain clothing to value. So like, the idea that the Jordan shoe is just a better shoe than better shoe or a better value than Shaq shoes is subjective, but the perception that we have of Jordan shoes in itself, I believe, is construct. So how do you guys feel? What are some that kind of trip you up personally?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure Jordan's had a chokehold on all of us. All right.
Facts.
This is big facts. Trying to get a pair right now.
I can't even. It's too expensive now, man. Hit me up when I have a TA position.
I'm dead.
Yes, sir.
Maybe if you show this to your professor.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with the children. Let's go with the children. All right. It is definitely. Well, I'll say this for me. Definitely been conditioned, even though evidence says otherwise, to have a child when you're like late 30s or late 20s, early 30s. My parents did not do that, which is why I said the evidence doesn't say that. But it's just been, children are expensive. Don't have a child until you're ready, and you just kind of live by that. Now, like I said, my parents did not do that. They had children early. So when you say early, it's like 19, 20, 21, right? Around that age. And, it's weird because like when I think about it, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to have children. Right. And then I'm like, okay, I am. Okay. And then it's like, all right, well, I can barely feed myself, so I'm not going to bring a child into here. But that's just my own thinking. And I understand why they're saying don't have one until like 28, 29. But that's based off the social construct that either A, I have my life together, or B, you're getting too old, right? So then we have those two to think about. But then what's crazy is how old that we're getting. We're seeing people our age, right? People are married, they have children now, they have Fortune 500 jobs. Like it's crazy. People in our age range, and, you know, you kind of see some of those things and be like, dang, I can do it too. You know,
I feel like they just experience life faster.
who
Those people who are in
those
those
people?
situations, yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, can be a good or a bad thing depending on how they look at it. But it's just one of those things. Just like, you know, you ask people when they're having children, and they're saying, "Well, I gotta have one at least by 25." Like, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. My opinion is changing every day because let's be honest. If we're going based on the fact that don't have one until you're ready, I mean, if I was a millionaire tomorrow, does that mean I can have a child tomorrow?
Financially, mentally,
Financially,
maybe not.
yeah, right. Because that's one thing to definitely think about, and I think that a lot more people are becoming. Well, never mind. I want to say a lot more people are becoming aware of that, but then again, you know, a lot of people are having children, um, based on their own feelings, which is great. You know,
Yeah.
having a child is definitely something to be it's an accomplishment. It's a blessing. It's something definitely to be happy about.
Yeah.
Um, Now when you say mentally, we definitely want to have that in check because when
Yeah.
you don't have that in check, you know, that's when so you take your own past traumas out on your children, and then they another conversation for another day.
Super
So
projection.
yeah.
Super
Um,
projection.
but yeah, that's one of those ones that I live by, or that I have lived by, and I'm kind of still living by. You know, I'm kind of open minded about it. The older I get, but that's the older I get, so it's kind of like I'm still stuck in the same mindset, right? So if I said I wanted to have one at 25, well, I'm out of time. I'm out of time. Yeah, it's got me by the shackles, man. It's got a hold on me. What you guys got?
Justin, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can. So I think the one that I believe that we are collectively pressured by is financial success. So what we view as financial success now, I think has become incredibly, incredibly. Um, I just had the word on the top of my head. Skewed. There it is. Incredibly skewed. And it's just because people are making incredulous amounts of money now. So, I mean, people look at Jeff Bezos as like financial success. I'm sorry. His kids are set. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
a lot of money he's making. And that for one person, essentially, because now he's divorced. Like, actually, just to put this in perspective, he got divorced. His wife, because of the divorce settlement, became like the 8th richest woman in the world. And literally, if you go look up the list and you find her, it will say reason for, for financial success, divorce. And
Yeah.
that's insane to me. Like, how does divorce create this well, I don't want to say she was an everyday woman. She probably had some great things going on as well. But it seemed like, I believe she was a teacher. I'm not 100% sure. Please don't fact check me. I will go on Google later and find out. But yeah, she jumped from, having good amounts of money. I mean, because I'm pretty sure she didn't have to worry about much because she was married to Jeff Bezos. But to now the 8th richest woman in the world. But I love what she did with it, which was she donated a lot of it to organizations, to HBCUs. So like, yeah, she was really, really good about that. Yeah, she donated a good amount of her money to HBCUs and to organizations, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of organizations.
But
So I was like, that
shout
she
out
has a
to
good
her.
heart. to do that. But financial success, I think, has become incredibly skewed and incredibly twisted because of the amounts of money people are making nowadays. Financial success for me is that I'm able to live comfortably and get the things that I want. So if I'm able to get the car that I like, if I'm able to live in, you know, a nice apartment or a nice house and do those things, I have financially made it for me. But people think, and I see it going around a lot, and I do want people, I love for you to aspire to do these things, but do not overwork, overstress yourself in the system that is America to try and achieve it. But everyone can be the first millionaire in their family. Everyone can be the first billionaire in their family, but don't one, give up something that you love to do just to chase money. And two, don't allow these skewed perceptions of how everyone makes money nowadays, i.e. YouTube, i.e., you know, a lot of things, push you into doing something that you're not comfortable with. So if you don't like to do it or you're not comfortable doing it, don't go chase it just because you financially want to have millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars. Because at the end of Dr. White, I mean, not Dr. White, but Dr. Chipman told me this one time, but everybody has a start date and an end date, but that dash in between it is what is that going to say for you? And, you know, if you didn't find any value when you get to that point, you know, when you're at the door at the end, but, you know, are you truly going to be happy with how your life went? So financial success, I think, is something that we're constantly collectively pressured by.
A lot of before you go, Matt, one more thing. Before what Justin was saying with financial success, hey man, if your bills on auto pay, man, you out here balling.
Bro, if you can have auto pay, I'm for real. If you put your bills on auto pay, you balling, are living.
Okay, but some bills are cheaper when you put them on auto pay. Like, I mean,
phone, like shout out to my Wi-Fi bill right now. Yeah. It is lower because I'm on auto pay as well.
Yeah, $3, bro. Come on, man.
Bro, my T-Mobile bill is like $25 cheaper.
Yep. Did you say T-Mobile?
I think capitalism said $25. That's the one.
Justin,
that's how I get them.
Justin, hold on.
Yes.
Did you just say T-Mobile?
No, I said my Wi-Fi bill.
No, he know who he's talking to. Who do you know who I'm talking to?
Bro, chill out, bro.
Oh, man said T-Mobile.
This man said T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Yeah, shout out to T-Mobile.
Sheesh, man.
Hey, I'm on T-Mobile too, though.
Hey, just got a 13, man. I'm rich, man.
Hey, that's financial success. This man got an iPhone 13.
I'll say
nah.
The biggest construct for me for such a long portion of my life was, especially because like until like my senior year of high school, I didn't understand what I wanted to do. I didn't understand why passion was important in consideration of what I wanted to study for college, which is something that a lot of people don't get the chance to consider until they've already accrued so much student loan debt that they've changed their major so many times.
Come on.
Like, I got the chance when I was in high school, you know, to experience a great program at Blanche Ely High School, in the band there, and I discovered that music was a passion of mine. And there's an idea or a notion that people have of like the careers that you can pursue and then the careers that you can pursue if you want to make money. And the most foolish thing to me at that young age was that people thought that, you know, you were just going to be average in a field of STEM is a lot lower, you know, is a lot higher in terms of pay than average in a field that's less lucrative than STEM. So like if I was an average musician, I would get paid like an average musician. But if I was an average scientist or anything that, you know, is under the denomination of STEM, I can still make $70,000 to $80,000 a year. Like I got friends that were SBI majors at FAMU and their GPAs were terrible, but it didn't matter because they just got this job because of a connection and now they're making like $75,000, $80,000 a year, you know, and that's average for that field. But in comparison to what we are used to, it's so much more, you know, it's such a higher yield for what we think that we can attain. But, you know, for me, I always thought that the amount that you get paid in whatever profession you pursue directly correlates to how valuable you are to that field, or how versed you are in your craft, or how, you know, prolific you are. If I'm going to pursue music and I'm just going to do what requires me of every degree, and I just stack up degrees, then I'm going to be pretty average, making average money. But I don't plan to be that way. So that was my logic in choosing my profession. And here I am in what is this? I started school when I was like 4 or 3. So like what, 18 years or something like that of my life, I've been in some education system. And I just graduated from FAMU, and now I'm back at school again. And people are like, bro, like you must hate yourself. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm having one of the best times of my life. Like, education is fun again. I really like it. And it's funny because if people were a little bit more open to the idea of pursuing something that they could wake up every day and do beyond their own fears of not making money, the fear of making money wouldn't exist. Because like there's the opportunity is there. You just have to be a little bit more proactive about creating it, as opposed to, you know, a career that's you just do the degree, you do an internship, and then you end up with a company, and then you sit at a desk for the rest of it. And I don't want to josh anybody that does that. You know, don't be mad, don't be mad. But hey, don't get mad at me because I'm telling you what you're thinking in your head, okay? Because if you don't like it, then don't do it. It's kind of that simple. But you know, I think that's the worst social construct for us, especially as a generation that likes to think so freely, but is so incapable of actually applying that same pattern of thought to like how you literally live your life. Because everybody wants to think whatever way that they want, but they're still operating inside of this box. Like it's so weird. You look at like, I mean, this is more specific to my field, but you look at musicians and people like kind of like ostracize people who pursue music in any facet. And it's like some of the most rich people on this planet are musicians. Like Kanye is a billionaire. That man went on an interview like a week or 2 ago and said he's not good at reading or writing or math. And like, but you know, it's like, it's just things like that. So I live to defeat people's misconceptions and incorrect notions. But the other one that really gets me is like the children timeline, because I have friends that are like, Matt, you could just drop a JIT right now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm so serious, bro. Give me, what am I, 22? I need like another 5. Once I finish my degree after this one, then the door opens. Like, don't even say that in reference to my name. There will be no kids. If my friends have kids right now, your kids are growing up lonely. Ain't none from me. None. Like, because first of all, whose daughter am I going to be vulnerable with in that way that I want to bring a child that is a product of me and her into this world? Like, if you're my friend and you know that I am not so sure about that, why are you trying to project this whole kid thing on me? Like, chill out. But yeah, that's me. Sir Nick.
Yeah, I want to go back with the college thing, and I want to take a second and just say that as a person who made this mistake, and I am honored and willing to die by this mistake. Hindsight is 2020. I definitely was in high school, and the guidance counselors there definitely are garbage.
Not doing their job.
You know, because they want to sit there and they want to push 4-year college. They want to push 4-year college. They want to push bachelor's degree. They want to, right? And I get it, because we need more children in college, right? But my senior year of high school, okay, I was going through it in high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I don't care. I was going through it. And I didn't know what I was finna do. I didn't know where I was gonna go. And as far as I know, myself and my best friend were finna go to the Marines, like straight out of high school. But you know, being in band and you start to audition, And I had a sister who went to college on a full scholarship. At UAPB in Arkansas. Or Anthony's mom was like, "You guys should, give it a chance." I started applying, or not applying, doing auditions for scholarships, right? And the amount of money they were throwing is it sounds good,
Mhm.
but I'm like, oh well. I was like, I'll go to college. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll go to college, right? And I'm like, if I'm gonna go to college, it's gonna be for band, and that's why I ended up going to FAMU. Like nothing else, nothing more. It was literally on a whim. Did the audition, heard that first B flat, and I was like, yeah, I gotta go here, right? But I want to go back to saying that, like, bro, most 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, even like 23, 24, they don't have it figured out. I don't understand why people are sitting here saying you need to go to college. Okay, well, are you going to explain the amount of money you need to have? Are you going to explain the type of courses you're going to go through? Are you going to explain the type of schedule you're going to have? Are you going to explain the type of opportunities you're going to have? Like, a lot of people don't really understand that. It's like, oh yeah, um, so like when we went to, we were going to FAMU. It's like, oh, FAMU, that's great. Are you going to be in a band? Oh, that's great. Okay, but who's going to pay for this $30,000 for my freshman year?
Mhm.
Right? It's like 30,000. I didn't even like. How did I get here?
They make
You
it
know?
seem like picking a major is like getting ice cream from Cold Stone, bro. And
Come
then
on.
like by the time you realize you've bought like 100 ice cream cones and you haven't licked even 1 ounce of ice cream, and you're like,
Exactly.
bro.
like, it's wild. And now, bro, I should I don't regret my time at FAMU. I don't. Learned a lot. Learned a whole lot. Um, and then even going to the military, learned a lot from there too. And it was great. But now I also realized that me trying to figure out what I was going to do in college did not sit well with me. And what I know now, being both out of college and the military, is that yes, please focus on what you want to do early. Like you may not find it, but try to figure that out as soon as possible. I love cars. I'm going to be a mechanic. I'm going to open up my shop with 2 other people. That's what I want to do. I wish I would have known that earlier, right? But a lot more people can attest to going to trade school. Okay. Look at trade schools, please. It's less time if you hate school and it's something you love. Because like you said, Matt, school is something that's fun for you because you're doing something you love. If I'm in school and somebody's telling me how to engine swap a car, then I'm having all the fun in the world because
Yeah.
it's something I want to learn. Right? If I'm in school and this is no shade, but I'm not a music major, so if somebody's teaching me theory, I mean, we can talk about chord progressions, and then anything after that, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll play it well, but anything after that, I'm lost. But we can talk about engine swaps. We can talk about turbos. We can talk about superchargers. We can talk about American Muscle. We can talk about JDM. We can talk about all that stuff because I love it. And yeah, just want to give people an idea that you don't have to go to a 4-year college. You don't have to go to
You
a two
don't.
year. You can take a gap year straight out of high school. You can go to the military. You can like a lot of like, bro, it's a really, really, really big misconception. And a social construct. It's like when you get out of high school, go straight to 4-year college. Go get you a bachelor's degree. Brett, no, especially if you're
The
not
value of a bachelor's degree is declining steadily and steadily because nobody actually knows why they're
exponentially,
getting it.
exponentially, exponentially. You're going to
Mm.
college basically to say that you can be disciplined to go to college and finish college.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, like I said, hindsight is 2020. You
We need
know,
to have a whole topic about college, man. That's
we
what we
really
need to
do.
do.
Don't
Um,
don't accrue debt just
yeah.
because
I want
because
to
you can.
recant a statement that I said about guidance counselors because I was actually one of the few, like one in every 1,000 people who actually had a quality guidance counselor, and I had a outstanding guidance counselor, and her name was Miss Wilson. And I'm not sure if she still works at Ely, but she opened up her own company, and it's directed solely at the purpose of helping younger adults. So like maybe like around the time of like sophomore to senior, young adults identifying what their passion is and, means of achieving prosperity in that field. And she like stopped being a guidance counselor entirely. I don't want to say it, but I know like I think while she was still working at Ely, if she still is, and that's even cooler, she opened up this company. And I'll definitely say through the dark times, I went through some very dark times when I was a high school student at Ely, not because I was at Ely, but just like, kids, we go through stuff a lot. And sometimes we have trouble talking to people about it. And I definitely did. And she was like she was like my mom at Ely. And it was just great, and I wish that, like Nick, you were talking about, you didn't have that experience. I definitely wish that more for people, because it can be really impactful. And like, she was the engineering guidance counselor and I was in engineering at Ely. And I told her, I was like, I don't want to do this. And she's like, you're one of the best students here. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. But it's the fact that she was open to the idea of me looking towards something else. And that was the support that I needed at that time. So yeah, I don't want to diss guidance counselors because that's one of my faves. But
right, let me say, if you're a guidance counselor and you don't if you don't talk to your students like they're about to go
make a major life decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you're garbage, because then you're setting us up for failure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our decision. But like I said, what 16, 17, 18-year-old is ready to go be $50,000 in debt, which is wild to me, because I can go get college student loans, but I can't get a car. I can't get a house. Bro, I can't. Oh, well, not me specifically, but I'm just saying in general, like, it's insane, dude. But yeah, definitely open your mind. Go do what you love. And if you don't know, you'll figure it out. I think a lot of times when people ask, what do you want to do? It's such a broad question, because how am I supposed to know what I want to do at 14, 15, 16, 17? I just want to get straight A's. Barely that. I just want to go to lunch. Barely that. Just want to stay at home.
I'm just trying to breathe, man.
Just want to go binge anime. Come on
now. I know we talked about some constructs that we feel pressured by, but are there any that we haven't talked about that you guys feel like you strongly dislike? And I use that in the absence of the word hate.
I think yes. All of the ones I've talked about outside of time, actually everything outside of time. I don't like anything else.
I'm not gonna say strongly. I'm gonna say hate. I hate the fact that people have to put a certain timeline. Are you moving out of your parents' house?
Yeah, I think that is so foolish. And
they attribute that to the level of maturity and independence.
I think that's an us problem, though.
I don't care.
I think I'm with you. I think it's foolish because
I very much think it's foolish too, because I dealt with it as well, because I stayed in town for school.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
It's not a flex, bro. It is a flex. It is a flex if you
proactive.
If you made it and you made it properly. It is not a flex when you are struggling day to day.
Yeah.
Week is not. And I just don't feel like you should pressure somebody to, that's one of those other life decisions that, it's going to take a lot. I want to move out just as much as the next person, but I understand that this is the best position to be in right now, because if I go anywhere else, I'm screwed.
Facts.
I said that's an us problem because I feel like people of other communities don't pressure their kids to leave because they know it's financially smart to save that salary. Like, if I was working right after my bachelor's, I would go back home and live with my parents for like two, three, maybe 4 years and save that money. I'd help with the bills in whatever way, that I was needed to, or I don't know if they want me to pay like half or rent or some weird, but a lot of typically parents don't do that of other communities, but in our community, it's like get out by this age. And then it's also like get out by this age, but why aren't we close enough to talk about blah, 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 blah. You just kicked me out of your house. But yeah.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy how I've been, and when I say I'm speaking for masses. I've been here for 17 years, and when I turn 18, there's a problem now. That's crazy.
It almost makes it seem like your parents were waiting for this day to come.
You said you didn't want me? Let me stop.
No, I'm saying, but that's what happens when people develop that.
Oh,
it turns out.
Sheesh.
It turns into a lot of negative situations.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about housing us problem, we can talk about the fact that I've said this before and I've said it again. People want to talk about growth, but then they want to force feed how they went through certain things. I didn't have to go through this. You should be lucky. You should be grateful, blah, blah, blah. I said the whole point of growth and development is so I don't have to go through said thing.
Bro, my siblings used to ride me about things like that. And I should just be like, bro, shut up.
It's not a flex. It's not a flex. Like I said, I hate that you had to go through it, but the whole point of you going through it and seeing the necessary change that needs to be made is so that the person who comes after you does not have to go through it. Because why would you want to see your offspring, your family, your creation go through the same thing you went through? How does that work?
Exactly.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah. No, but see, that's the problem. They're not. It's not appropriate to think about how that makes you feel. If that's immature. That notion that I'm not saying that it is, but the way that they perceive it to be is that it's immature because they lack emotional intelligence. They're not self-aware as well. Shout out to a previous episode that we talked about self-awareness.
Watch it when you can, not if you can.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, I hate that. Passion. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I hate it. Build for your kids. Kanye was in his bag when he said that.
In his bag, bro.
He sounds stupid, but he was in his bag.
He was. Should someone feel bad for abiding by social constructs?
Situationally. It depends on the construct. I am personally very interested in being in the driver's seat of my life, and very few things do I just let myself do unconsciously.
Yeah.
So like, I want to know why I'm doing it, when I'm doing it, what's the benefit of me doing it? I need to know that. But I don't think someone is like foolish because we're trained to abide by constructs. I don't, however, think that we should just identify with everything that we're taught, though. So I think at some point you're going to have to question the things and behaviors that you have.
Yeah. I agree. I would say I really don't have much else to add to that. That's it. That's the point.
It's just like personality. I feel like, how like our people of our community also don't like therapy because I don't know why. It's just kind of frowned upon because for some reason we take trauma as evolutionary experiences rather than things that can stay hidden within us that cause us to be certain ways that are harmful to others or to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we just chop that up to be our personality. So I think the same thing applies for social constructs.
I like that.
I'm going to go ahead and skip it. And I'm going to go ahead and skip it and go ahead and say, is it popular to go against the grain in reference to the social constructs?
Yes.
It is popular.
No, it's not.
It's not popular.
It's not popular.
Okay. Would you like to give an example?
Yeah. Every social construct.
I'm all ears, man. Come on now.
I said every social construct ever developed, but I mean, just in terms of the ones that we've generationally created, social constructs have become trends. Social constructs and trends kind of the same thing too, but they become a trend and a wave. And if you're not a part of the wave, then you're lame. You're not, you're not up with the times. You're not hip. Those things. Hip make me saying you're not hip make me sound dated, boy.
Yeah.
But
Boomer.
right.
I mean, he is. He doesn't have an Instagram, so you're lame by what you just said. You're not with the times. Get with the Joneses.
Get him.
That's it. But yeah, I think it isn't popular because if you're not in tune in some kind of way, then you're completely out of it all.
Your silence is so loud.
What?
Justin.
Oh.
His silence is so loud, bro. So loud.
I mean, I think it's popular to go to that. I feel like it is because I feel like people, even when they don't understand why they're going against the grain, they want to go against the grain because they don't want to conform. It's popular to not conform, but not to understand why you're not conforming. Like people would rather avoid seeming like they're doing the basic or conventional method with a specific absence of logic to justify why they're actually doing that.
Yeah.
That's how that's how I feel. I feel like I think it is popular, like the whole hipster movement.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna not to pick sides, but I'm gonna go with Justin. I'm gonna say, yeah, man. If you're not with the masses, you're a loser. So you're with the program, man. What are you doing, clown?
The majority always outweighs the minority. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's not to go against anything that I've said, but
yeah.
social. I mean, it's a social construct. So socially speaking, yeah, bro, give it the times, bro. You loser.
Yeah, really though.
What are you doing, man?
Are you wearing New Balance? Loser.
And now are you wearing New Balance? That's so rad.
That's so hard, bro. Oh my
God,
bro.
Like,
when we were in school as kids, Champion was like, ha, what a clown,
bro.
Oh my God,
bro.
Now,
bro,
so you're a champion.
Bro, you're tripping. Did you? Bro, it's just a sweatshirt with a Champion logo for $50, bro. But it's so good, high quality.
It's so weird how things changed in middle school. I finally got on the wave of Aeropostale, and then it was American Eagle, and then I was laughed at. It's like,
I feel bad for the guy who bought a bunch of Shacks and just like they're gonna take off one day.
Hey, they are. Just give it time.
I feel like maybe
I'm
I don't
still
know.
on the wave of that guy. They are.
you guys remember the suede Pumas? Jesus Christ, had us by the chokehold.
No, I don't.
Really?
I remember Converse and
what else did?
snapbacks.
Sperry's.
I have a pair right
I
now.
like Sperry's.
I have a pair right now. I'll tell you what I did. I started wearing them with the Nike socks with shorts at work. Definitely got some hate.
Damn, bro,
Yeah.
you are in 2012.
Yeah, you are a menace.
Bro, I remember the Converse wave, bro. And I can't wear Converse because I'm flat-footed.
I have big feet, so I look like I'm a clown.
It was a rough
Big
time.
fact. Went.
Size 12 Converse, bro. You're a clown. By you're, I mean me.
E-oh.
Right.
Get my clown car with my fat Converse.
Long foot.
Really quick side note. I just want to take the time to say that your is kicking a lot of people's butts. Okay. So,
Big fact.
your YOUR shows possession. Okay. YOU apostrophe RE is the conjunction for UR. Okay. Just let's remember that going forward. Okay. Your shows possession. YOUR. Your apostrophe RE is the conjunction for UR. Okay. Let's take that moving forward because it's really kicking you guys' butts.
I needed that.
Dude.
I needed that.
Somehow we've got to the end of another episode, gentlemen.
Come on.
I feel like we're just getting started.
Honestly. Man, I feel like the streets are gonna eat this one up though.
Oh no, this is definitely
this one and the last
gonna be a
one.
hot topic.
Yeah. I think we really let ourselves dive in.
Ooh, I'm about to copyright.
Oh Lord!
Right.
So I guess that this is the time to say, if you're listening, please, especially as one of the listeners who asked us to dive deeper, let us know how you feel by the time you get to the end of this. Especially, the people who are asking for part 2 of episode 0. I'm calling you out.
Yes.
Give us your perspective now. If you can text us and give us perspective, you can drop it in the comments too. Come on.
That's
like,
and some people have also given perspective already. I appreciate you. You are not forgotten.
Yeah.
We take serious what you say because ain't nobody else saying nothing. So the people who do say something, we love you.
Leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a follow, do all that. We want to grow.
Subscribe, everything.
And share.
We actually are looking to have some women on the show soon. And it's funny because we always ask them what topics would you guys like to dive into? And everybody always says we don't know, because it's funny because when we talk about this amongst ourselves, we also say we don't know. But if you guys as the listeners would like us to hear, if you guys would like to hear us talk about certain things when we have those guests on the show, please let us know. We're looking to create some great conversation and dialogue and just start some questions.
As we continue to record and do more of this podcast, we're going to let out some more information. Right now, it's still very early. So, I mean, as we were discussing earlier, some vulnerable questions came up in the mix, or just being vulnerable as a guy in general. We want to get there. And the only way to get there is, just to get the support of you guys and to keep it going. So, we really want to hear from you guys. We really do. Yeah. To the people who have listened, who have given feedback, who have not given feedback, who have shared it, who have liked it, who are following, we really thank you. Okay. Yeah. And all we ask is for you to give feedback and to comment and to share it.
That's it.
We want to have as many guests as we can. We want to get as much exposure as we can. But
we want to hear from you as much as we can.
We do. You guys are a leading factor. We dropped episode 0 and we were like,
Streets ate that up, man.
Yeah, we were like, let's hold off on the other episodes because we pretty much pre-record all the episodes and then we just drop them based off of how it's going. So we really waited based on episode 0. So like Matt said, y'all ate it up. So
y'all also let us know we got to drop a little bit quicker and in maybe twice a week. So we adjusted. So
right, we're very responsive and like we said, we're very open-minded about a lot of things. And we're here for us. This is I've said it to multiple people. This is very therapeutic for me. I don't know for you guys.
For sure,
very therapeutic. So doing something as simple as this, and then doing it again, doing something that's already very therapeutic, and then helping somebody else, or talking about something else, or vocalizing some opinions that some people may not speak up about. It's great. This is really, really good experience. So we want to thank you guys. And like you said, just we'll support y'all as much as we support it, or as y'all support us. So yeah.
Big thing I want to share as well too. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We have social media pages on Facebook and Instagram as well. But if there is something we're not on, if you listen to a podcast on another platform,
Castbox,
right? If you want to see us on another social media platform, potentially, let us know that too. Let us know how we can engage you guys in more ways. The engagement has been pretty good. Let me just say pretty good thus far, but we want a lot more. And if we're just not reaching the masses in the way that we need to be, let us know how we can do that as well and continue to reach the masses. I think this is off to a hot start. I
Yeah.
definitely enjoy doing it, just like these guys have already said it as well. And can't wait till the next one. As always.
As always,
As always.
keep your third eye open, gentlemen.
Big hubba.
Big hubbub. I want to add one last thing. It's been a trending thing since we started. That if you know us, let you know.
You don't. You just
That's
don't.
it.
You know
Good.
that.
How about you try to learn us?
How about you open your third eye if you can?
Stay enlightened.